This is Andi Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by Swedish heavyweight Otto Wallin in his hometown of New York City. Otto, how are you? How is life?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to see you here in New York.
It's good to be here and it's good to catch up with you as always. Obviously, I'm out here for a fight this weekend, so before we come on to yourself, Serrano-Cruz, we've already seen what Amanda Serrano brings to the ring. What are you expecting from that fight, though? Do you know much about Erika Cruz, or are you just more so kind of maybe a fan of Amanda Serrano?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Serrano. I watched that fight with Katie Taylor. That was an amazing fight. Amazing atmosphere here at MSG. And, you know, that fight was great. Maybe the best fight I've ever seen live, to be honest. So I really like Serrano. I don't really know Erika Cruz, so that's the problem. But then we have the Swedish girl also, Elin Cederus, is fighting. So that would be nice to see her also back in action.
She actually fought out here last time against French-on-Cruz Disheartening. She fell short in her undisputed bout up at 168. So, what is the general boxing scene like from Swedish fighters, Otto, from your knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's not the best, I would say. We have some people, me, Elin, some other guys, but you know, we had something good going. You know, when I first started as a pro. So I think we just need to get our second win, and because boxing was forbidden for a long time in Sweden. It's for 40 years professional boxing was forbidden. So, you know, people are trying to build it back up, but hopefully we can get on some good shows there and bring in more people, have more people join gyms and start training.
Obviously, Otto, currently you're one of the larger names out of Swedish boxing, and looking at your career this past weekend, you had a victory. Just walk me back through your win on points.
Yeah, I had a victory over in New Hampshire. You know, I fought a guy, Helaman, Olguin. Not a bad fighter, but not on my level. So I went in there and did my job and won the fight, which was good. And most important, and it's important for me to stay active. So that's the main thing with that. And good to get some rounds and stay sharp while I wait for bigger opportunities.
Otto, we've obviously done a number of interviews over this past 18 months, I'd say now, and you've been waiting in the wings for your big opportunity to come since the Fury fight. It hasn't materialised yet. You go back out this past weekend, you have kind of a tick-over fight, shall we say. Is there a level of frustration which is starting to peak at all now?
Honestly, it's been frustrating. I feel like I'm better and I deserve big fights. You know, I'm ranked, what is it, number 3 with the WBO, 9 with the WBC. BoxRec, I don't know, what, 13 maybe or something. And so I feel like I've deserved big fights and I haven't really been getting them lately. So it's been frustrating, but the only thing I can do is stay active like I'm doing, stay in the gym, training, trying to get better, and then I try to be ready when the big fight comes.
Otto, on the back of that Tyson fight, I think a lot of people would have thought, whether it was a world title or just a big name, that opportunities and the doors would have opened for you. In your opinion, since then, why do you think you haven't had another big fight yet? I know the Dillian Whyte fight fell through no fault of your own, but aside from that, why do you think nobody has been willing to call you out, willing to say, you know what, I fancy the Otto Wallin fight?
Yeah, you don't really hear that. I don't really hear that, at least. And I think some people look at me like high risk and low reward, right? They saw that I did it good with Fury, gave him a really tough fight, and I'm a southpaw, I'm tricky. So for some reason, it's been really hard for us to get fights, and we've been trying different names. And I was happy when I got that shot to fight Dillian Whyte, of course. The winner was going to fight Fury. I felt like I was going to go in there and do a job on him. And you see him, you know, pulling out of the fight, going in, fighting Fury, getting knocked out. So it's just a little frustrating for me, but I would love to get Dillian Whyte. That's somebody that I really want to fight, and I think that's really the fight to make.
How personal is that for you, Otto, the Dillian Whyte situation, with him pulling out all of those rumours at the time that he knew that the Tyson Fury fight was set for the next year and didn't want to take a risk against you? How personal do you find that entire situation?
I don't take it too personal, but you know, it's a business at the end of the day. He did what he thought was right. He made a lot of money by, you know, pulling out of our fight. And, you know, it's just frustrating for me. But I have a lot of, frustration, within myself, that I really would like to take it out on him. I think that would make me feel a lot better.
On the potential Dillian fight, has there been any further talk since obviously he's recently fought Jermaine Franklin, came through that one at the back end of last year? Have you had any conversations with his team at all?
Not me personally, but I know Dimitri, my promoter, has. And they've been reaching out for that, trying to make that fight, but nothing has come from it so far.
The version you saw against Jermaine Franklin, now in that fight, a lot of people thought Jermaine done enough to have his hand raised. Dillian nicked it on the cards in the end. But that version you saw, what would happen if you did square off against him?
I think I could really do a job on him, to be honest. I think that I can outbox him. I can, use my fast hands, fast feet, and be smart with him, but also, earn my respect in there. And I think that I could really put it on him.
Otto, another name you was obviously linked with, and there was rumours that you was certainly in the running to secure a fight with, is Anthony Joshua. Just before we come on to the name which has seemingly secured that fight, where did things end up on your end with a potential bout there?
Well, he decided to fight Franklin, so probably a good comeback fight for him, to be honest. I would have loved to get that fight, of course, and I was training for it. There was some real talks between our promoters for me to have that fight. So, he can go on now. We'll see if he beats Franklin, and if he does, I'll be ready for it. Because we'll see. I think I would give Joshua a much better fight, and I think it'll probably be an easier fight to sell also in the UK. Than the Dillian Whyte fighting Joshua, especially since he's coming off, pretty much lost to Franklin, and then he was knocked out with Fury, right? So me coming in, having given Fury a really good fight, I think that could be a good fight for Joshua in the UK, and even better fight for me.
Otto, with the AJ fight, obviously yourself and Jermaine are promoted by Dimitri Salita, the same promoter there. How close did it get to being between yourself and Jermaine? Was you ever ahead in that race to get the Anthony Joshua fight?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't think they ever said that it's only you or this guy or things like that. But I know that they were interested in me, and I think that yes, like I said, it would be a pretty easy fight to sell. It would make sense for Joshua to fight me. But he chose to go with Franklin.
On that note of him going down the Jermaine Franklin route, what do you expect to see in that fight?
I think Jermaine is a good fighter. I don't know how dedicated he's been in his career, but I think that he's a good fighter. He has talent, but I think he's going to be in deep with Joshua. And Joshua, big, strong, powerful guy. And if he can have some of his confidence back, I think that Joshua will probably win by a knockout.
That was going to be my next question. Obviously, we saw Jermaine Franklin run Dillian Whyte close in their fight at the back end of last year, as I said earlier. A lot of people think that AJ coming back, he might stop Jermaine, and if that's the case, obviously we're looking towards a Joshua-Whyte 2 fight in the summer. Does that lose kind of credibility almost if I was to go ahead and make that? If AJ was to turn up and produce the type of performance people are suggesting he will?
Well, I think so. I think that Franklin beat Whyte getting knocked out by Fury, losing to Franklin, you could say. And then, I mean, how big really is that fight? He was already knocked out by Joshua before. And I don't think that Dillian Whyte has got any better. I think the opposite. I think he's getting worse now. He's getting older and, slowing down. So I think that Joshua will take him out pretty fast.
Being a southpaw, Otto, do you think it worked against you, or do you think it might have helped you to a certain point in the potential running for the Anthony Joshua fight? Because he's just gone 2 camps back-to-back for the Alexander-Usyk bouts. It would have been maybe easy for him to try to get rid of those demons of fighting a southpaw, to come back in with you, in his mindset, thinking he can do a job on you and just show that he can beat a southpaw. Did you ever feel like that would work in your favour?
No, I can't say. I can't say he did, because he lost 2 fights against Usyk, and they probably thinking, oh, let's not fight a southpaw right now. And I can understand that thinking. Fighting a southpaw is different, but if you ask me, then I would probably say, he already fought Usyk twice now. He prepared for Usyk twice, got probably a lot of sparring with southpaws. So, why not fight Otto now? But the thing is with me that it's not just that I'm a southpaw, I'm also a very good fighter, and I could potentially beat him. And they know that, so I think that's why.
Outside of the Dillian and Joshua fights, is there anybody else out there you've looked at and felt, I'd like that fight next? I know you've always said Tyson, but just exclude those names. Is there anyone else out there who maybe goes under the radar a little bit? Maybe say a Michael Hunter who has maybe caught your eye?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys out there. If I can't get those big names, I gotta, maybe we need to take a step back, maybe fight somebody like Efe Ajagba, Dempsey McKean, Charles Martin. It's a lot of different names out there to fight, and I think that could be good also for me. Stay active and keep building my name and showing that I'm deserving of the biggest names.
Just looking at the current mixer and the cropper heavyweight division, Joyce-Zhang was confirmed today. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it would be a good fight for as long as it lasts. I mean, Zhang, I sparred him a lot over here, and he's a big puncher, big guy. But I think ultimately that Joyce, he's also a big puncher. Throws so many punches, just keep coming. I think that would be tough for Zhang in the end. It'd be interesting though, see what happens in the first few rounds. But eventually, I would guess that Joyce will break him down and stop him.
Zhang, as you mentioned, somebody who he loves to get involved, he loves to throw punches, and he's not one to be scared or shy of getting hit himself. What do you think is the key to beating somebody like Joe Joyce?
I think with Joyce you have to be very smart. You got to come up with a really good game plan and execute that, stick to the game plan the whole fight. Because you know that he's going to keep coming the whole fight. He's going to throw a lot of punches, not really going to slow down. But I think definitely there's always a way to beat guys. So you have to be very smart, and I wouldn't want to give away too much, to be honest. Because who knows, we might fight in the future.
I always do this with you, Otto. Whenever there's heavyweight talk, I ask you for your opinions on certain fights. Again, does it bring a level of frustration breaking them down for me, but knowing you're not involved?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I would love to have, the fights that I feel like I deserve. So, like I said earlier, it's just for me, keep staying focused, staying active, taking the fights I can get, and stay in the gym, keep getting better, and then when I get those big fights, that I show that I'm really belong.
Unfortunately, there's a couple more fights I want to get your opinion on, Otto. We're expecting to see Fury-Usyk towards the end of April. A lot of people see Tyson as the favourite, but it's not like it's an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. What are your thoughts, Fury-Usyk?
Could be a good fight, I think. In the end, I think that Fury is just too big for him, too good of a boxer. Fury's smart, he has good confidence, and he knows what he's good at. So I think that Usyk is not to be underestimated, but Fury is the favorite for me, and he probably will win a decision.
We also saw the IBF order Ruiz-Hrgovic. Now, we don't expect that one to go ahead. We do lean towards seeing that Ruiz-Wilder fight instead, but just your take on that.
On Hrgovic and Ruiz. I think that could be good. It would be interesting. It would be very interesting, actually. I think that's really a toss-up for me. I don't really know who to pick there. We might have to see a little bit more from Hrgovic to know how good he is. He had a tough fight with Zhang. Andi, we know, is a good fighter. So I think that could be a tough fight. I might lean towards Andi a little bit. All depends on what type of shape he shows up in too. But I think that would be a tough fight and a toss-up.
Which fight for you is easier to predict, Ruiz-Hrgovic or Ruiz-Wilder?
I think Ruiz-Wilder. I think that I like Andy Ruiz. He's a good fighter, but he I don't think he's in the best shape, and he shows up and he throws good combinations, everything. He's very fast, but then it takes long breaks. He takes 1-2 rounds off, and then it kept coming again. So you have somebody like Wilder, you can't really pause that much. You gotta stay active the whole fight. You gotta be switched on the whole fight. Otherwise, he's gonna take you out. So that's my guess. I think that Wilder will knock him out.
Otto, one name I haven't brought up to you, and he's just popped into my mind as we mentioned Andi Ruiz, is a former foe of Andi Ruiz, is Joseph Parker. Campmate to Tyson Fury. You've always had a good relationship with Tyson before and after the fight. We saw him recently fight Jack Massey, came through with a points win. Jack, known for being a cruiserweight, not a heavyweight. Is that a fight you'd consider? You fought on a boxer show at the beginning of last year.
I would like to fight Parker for sure. I think that would be a good fight for me, and I would love that fight. I think that Parker is a good name, former champion, so I would love that.
Did you watch him against Jack Massey?
No, I haven't seen that fight, but I've seen a lot of his other fights. I saw him with Joyce. Felt like he did okay. Some things I felt like he could have done better, but Joyce is a very good fighter. Might be the best prospect out there, even though he's that old. But but yeah, I think that I would love that fight. I think that I have a perfect style for Parker. I'm a good fighter, and I think that I can beat him.
I don't often say this during interviews, but a fight like that makes perfect sense for both of you. Obviously, Joe Parker's still on the comeback from the loss to Fury. You've been waiting for a while for a big fight. You fought Tyson, you gave him a good fight. It would be one which I think not many people would be against seeing.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. And, I mean, we've been trying for that also. There's been some back and forth. I haven't got an update, but I know that Dimitri has been reaching out to Sky and Boxer about that fight.
Right, Otto, we will leave that there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening here in New York. Anything you'd like to leave on?
No, just good to see you, and thanks for having me on. And I hope, give my fans a good show soon.
Otto, I'm sure everybody will hope to see you back in a big fight soon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Like I say, thank you for speaking to me, and ID Boxing.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.